Hey guys, what's up? This is Colin here with Solo YGO, and I'm going to be coming at you guys with a Ghoti, I almost said Snopios, a Ghoti deck profile. This is just what I play. I absolutely adore this deck, and before we get into it, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and that bell icon if you haven't already. Helps keep the lights on, you know what I'm saying? Having some fun. And I guess without further ado, we'll get into it.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so we're going to start with the main deck. So we run effectively, let me flip this here. We run effectively 4 Beautiful Princess with the 3 Beautiful and the 1 for 1. This card goes absolutely insane. It's really it's a 1 card, get your winning board state. When you're going first, yeah, it loses to Ash, but this deck has a million ways to bait Ash. Usually you're not without Ash bait in your opening hand, so this card is just absolutely insane.
So you're saying you have to have some Ash bait, otherwise it'd be fish bait?
Yes, otherwise it would be fish bait. You know, there is a lot of bait in this deck. It's great because we're playing fish, baby. And what it goes and snags is Lifeless Leaf Fish almost always. The card Beautiful Princess is insanely flexible, so it's not restricted specifically to Leaf Fish, but 9 out of 10 times you're going to go into Leaf Fish because this card is absolutely insane. It is a Foolish Burial for the deck, and it also becomes like a mini Pot of Avarice for the deck. So it's like this weird combination of, I'd say, Foolish Burial and Daigusto Emerald for the deck. And then next we have, in my opinion, the best quick tuner in the deck, Shift. And the reason I like Shift more than Paces, before the Ghoti fans come for me in the comments, you know what I'm saying, is Shift is the easiest to get into banish for me. Paces self-banish requires you to have another fish in hand. And more importantly, it's another fish that you don't want to keep in your hand. You know, so he burns a lot of resources. Meanwhile, Leaf Fish sends Shift. Shift banishes itself and targets Leaf Fish, and boom, you've got a level 2 tuner ready to come back on the opponent's turn. So, Shift supremacy, in my opinion. Next, I run 2 Paces, because Paces is still insane. I used to play him at 3, but he really kind of clogged for me. You know, with the same problem I just talked about. It was like, how do I get this guy into banish a lot of the time? So it was better for me to play him at 2, but another quick tuner, one of the best cards in the deck, let's be real. The quick tuners are what make this deck.
We'd like to say something here on the channel, Colin. We like to say 1's not enough, 3's too many, 2 is just right.
You know what? I like that. And that applies to this next card here. Snopios, the hand trap of the deck. And it's kind of funny because her hand trap is kind of costly. You know, you have to banish 2 fish from hand or graveyard. Shh, don't tell anybody that helps me. But when she's played, she targets a card on the field, and then when that card leaves the field, it's banished. Now, I find myself 7, maybe 8 out of 10 times Snopios target herself. But if you're up against, say, something kind of fringe like Pen Magicians, you can target their Pendulum card, and now when they blow it up for its effect, instead it gets banished, and you know it's resourced now. She's actually a hand trap. She's really good. Level 6 monster, can be searched by Ariane posts, so searchable hand traps are always good. What else can I say about this card? She's kind of a moneymaker in the deck. She's an immediate Ascan. Oh, that's the other thought I always have with her. If you see this with Zep in your opening hand and you're going second, you still win. Like, Snopios plus Zep just wins you the game if you're going second. Because then it's like, haha, I'm playing on your turn, even though I'm not going first.
Why are banished decks always playing on opponent's turn? Flunderies.
Yeah, Flunderies, Ghoti, what are some other... Anyway. Kashtira, yeah, that'll...
On resolution.
On resolution, yeah. Our turn is how banished decks play. And up next, we have Zep. Probably the weakest link of the 3 quick tuners, and yet so integral and so important to how the deck works. So this dude, unlike the other 2 quick tuners that summon themselves on the standby phase after they were banished, if he gets banished, he doesn't do anything unless he's banished on your opponent's turn, at which point he just special summons himself, and then immediately on summon he gets another effect that lets you quick synchro. So all of his effects are triggered while paces and shift are activated, they're declared. But him with Snopios just wins you the game. He's the reason that ending on a level 4 fish is really your winning board state, because then you go into Arion Post banishes him, and you just synchro climb into your boss monster. And then there's another card that just got released for the deck that makes him so much more playable and so much more reliable as a resource. Is it my next card? It is. So here we have Chief Keef, also known as SP Littlefish. This guy is not a tuner, unlike the other level 2s in the deck, but
he's the new guy, huh?
He's the new guy, and he is cracked. This card is broken. So if you can end with Keef in banish, a level 2 tuner in banish, and a level 4 fish on the field, so, and by a level 2 tuner I mean something like paces, and then you've got a level 4 fish on the field, you just win the game. That is your winning board state.
Oh wow.
And Keef is insane. So when your opponent special summons a monster, for those who don't know what he does, Keef will target that opponent's can target. It's an optional declaration. He can target the opponent's monster and one of your banished fish. Then he banishes himself and that monster and special summons back the fish. So again, comboing on your opponent's turn, our turn, you know what I'm saying? SP Littlefish. And that combos with Zep. Like, let's say you had Zep in your grave and you had to banish him for whatever reason, so you don't get the on your opponent's turn effect. Keef fixes that. Not only does he disrupt your opponent, he gives you a quick synchro. So card is good, and he also summons himself on the standby phase after he was banished. So, you know, just great card. Next we have Spinny of the Ghoti. For those of you who played Salamangreat, you probably get it. He's really just the Spinny of the deck. A card gets banished, or a fish gets banished, he special summons himself, and that's about it. He's just a level 4 body. You know, having a level 4 fish on your ending board is really important, and he's searchable by the field spell. So, good card all around to have. But I only play the 1 because
1's just enough.
1 is just enough, baby.
2's too many and 3's too many.
Yep, he clogs at anything more than that. So next we have the other new guy, Syx. Other people call him Seeks. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan. I say Syx. So this guy, I'm still experimenting with my ratios on the new cards, honestly. Like, I had another one of my friends say I should bump Snopios to 3. I just can't agree with that. I think Snopios is a 2 of. So far I like him at 1 because he takes setup, but once you have the setup, he goes crazy. And he's searchable off the field spell. You can banish him off of Gold Sark, which, Gold Sark full combo, let's go. But he's insane. So, he searches when he's special summoned. He searches any fish monster. So, already really good. And then, when he's banished, you can banish a fish from your hand or face-up field, I believe, are the places he searches, to special summon him. So he just kind of creates this feedback loop on his own, but you have to have the build-up. You have to have the setup for him. So I found my personal preference is 1 is where I like him. I might experiment with putting him at 2, but I don't think he's a 3 of. Just
Can
like
we stop to admire the art?
Yes, absolutely.
Moonlight of the Ghoti. This card looks amazing.
Yeah,
He's a bottom dweller.
he is, and you can see by the little anglerfish thing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, he's cool.
he is really cool. I like the skull. Like, I like how all the early Ghoties are really pretty cosmic fish, and then you've got Keith and this guy, and they're from like the deep ocean. You know,
yeah.
these are things you find in the Marianas Trench.
Oh yeah, those guys are where the Titanic explorers went.
You are not wrong, my friend.
Oh my god.
All right, so next,
Sorry, YouTube.
we here at Solo YGO do not.
Make light of the dead.
Yeah, there we go. I was gonna say some generic disclaimer. Back to.
No editing, keep it in.
Okay, there we go. So next, I play one Abyss Shark, mostly because chasing this card down is insane. Like, I was trying to buy one off of TCG Player, and they were all priced at $19, even though the median market price was $9. And I was like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna buy one then.
They must have just been bought out, like, just very recently.
Something.
Looking at it, yeah.
Probably, with all the new fish support
So you're
that's
telling me
come
that
out.
the Water Legendary Duelist set actually has some value now?
Yes, the Water Legendary Duelist set actually has some value.
That's crazy. One card value.
One card of value.
Ghost Rare.
Yeah.
Probably the same value Silent Honor Arc, whatever his name is.
You're not wrong. So Abyss Shark is insane, though. He has a really... Everything is all one effect, so he can be ashed with his in-hand effect, but if you control nothing but water monsters, you can activate his effect to special summon him and then search a level 4 fish. He counts as a level 4 if you are going into a water XYZ, is that what it is? Blah, blah, blah. Number monster, my mistake. He can be treated as level 3 or 4 if you're overlaying for a number monster. So that actually gives him some versatility in more than just water decks. But for the most part, you're only going to be playing him in fish decks.
You gotta cheat him out somehow, though, if you're not gonna play him in a water deck.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, he's not cheating himself out.
Too big.
Normal summon Dogwood. Hey, if you normal summon Dogwood, that's a free Synchro 8, you know? Don't.
And then make a Cyber Slash Harpy Lady.
Boom.
A Harpy's Featherstorm.
Genius. Cooking.
I was thinking about playing that in Swordsfall, honestly. But just based off if I draw, D-Barrier or Harpy's Featherstorm, it depends what level 8 I'll go into.
That's actually not a bad tech. That's spice.
Skips.
Yeah,
It's a turn skip.
Harpy's Featherstorm is probably the turn skip.
That's a good card.
It is one good card.
Chainable Lingering.
Why can't
No red reboot in the format.
no red reboot? God,
Chainable
thank God.
Lingering. It's insane.
Why can't the rest of Harpy's cards be that good? Anyway.
That is your saving grace. And it can be activated from hand with that deck, so that's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, but it can also be activated from hand in Flunder, so, Flunder plays it.
I think it's only if you troll Harpy. You can activate it from
I think
hand.
it's a Winged Beast.
That's its effect in general, but it can activate from hand if you troll Harpy.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay,
A little more
okay.
specific for that.
Okay, my mistake. But yeah, bottom line, Abyss Shark is really good. He gets you just a lot of value. Honestly, he's a card that if you see him, you see him. If you don't, you don't. He's bad synchro material, which this deck is a synchro deck. So, honestly, 1 of is a very comfortable spot for me to have him at, but I do like him at 2 in other builds I've tested. Next, we have 3 Ice Jade Ran Azurin.
That's why that card got expensive.
Oh yeah,
You guys are playing it.
this card's insane. It's an instant Synchro 10 for a water. It's so it gets you into some crazy boss monsters, but most of the time, if you're going first, you just go into a Ymir Azurin, and you just sit on it, and card is good. This can be played in almost anything that runs a semblance of water monsters. She can discard herself for her summoning condition, so her summoning condition is I think it's an activated effect, let me check. Yeah, it's an activated effect, but she can discard herself for cost if you see 2 of her, and then she just summons a level 3 token, and then while you control her, you can only go into water synchro monsters, which I promise you is terrifying for this deck, man. Being locked into water monsters is just Card is good. Instant Synchro 10 seems good. Next, we have the fair, balanced moneymaker of the deck, 3-dimensional shifter. This card's insane. There's no reason to not main deck it. This deck sees value off of it. This card actually gets you paces and banish off of Leaf Fish. So if you want paces over Leaf over Shift.
Show all 3.
Oh yeah, there we go. Boom. Sorry, I don't have my secrets or my ultis. Y'all have to deal with commons.
You some ASMR down there?
Yeah, exactly. You already know. I mean, the only versatility I've ever found with this card is actually, believe it or not, I had one game that I won off of Tribute Summon D-Shifter.
To go into Synchro or just attack?
Actually, to build my graveyard.
To get it into your graveyard and then combo off?
To get it into my graveyard and then combo off. Tribute Summon D-Shifter won me a game. But he is a level 6, so you can Synchro off of him for a lot of stuff. It
sounds like Goat format where you meta a Dark off for a less optimal fusion just to get your grave loaded.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I love Edison and Goat. That was Goat format. But next, we run, let me switch this around for a sec. We run effectively 4 of the most distant, deepest depths. I had a friend of mine, he ran it at 2 with a terraforming. This card is great ash bait. This card is amazing ash bait. You're like, I banish a card, it's banished for cost. That's really important to search a Ghoti, and then your opponent's like, oh, I don't want you searching Engine, Ash, and then you're like, normal summon Beautiful and go off.
Yeah, I think the only time you'd ever run 2 in 1 is if it's semi-limited your field spell, or if your goal is to deck thin. But in formats with Droll and Lockbird, you're really just shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
You'd rather just see it if you only want to play 3, otherwise play all 4.
Yeah, exactly. Always play all 4. And then, of course, there's the fact that terraforming itself makes decent ash bait. So, like, if you've already got the field spell,
but it's also just free for Droll to
get
you.
So, I mean, and that's...
Does your deck do well with Droll?
My deck, this deck plays very well under Droll. Most of it is send to grave from deck or banish from deck.
You have some built-in protection too.
Yeah.
For example, going D-Shifter and standby.
Yeah.
Now they can no longer Droll you.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you don't see it.
But if I don't see it,
well,
sometimes in very, very rare scenarios, Droll hurts pretty bad, but most of the time I don't really care about Droll. Yeah. And then we've got 3 Reinforcement of the Ice Jade. It's just a Rhoda. This isn't even once per turn. It searches 1 Ice Jade monster. And
this Ice Jade is like tier 10. If they have somebody once per turn, just nerf in the deck.
Yeah, literally.
That's good.
Yeah.
Bonfire.
Now, the Ice Jade that you search has to have a different name than what you have on your field or in your graveyard. Well, I mean, we've seen how many Ice Jades I play in the deck, so I mean, this is just to get to Ren Azure in, because again, instant Synchro 10 seems good. Also, Ash Bait.
How are you liking the 3-to-3 ratio?
I'm actually loving it. Sometimes it clogs, like
2-to-3 seems pretty typical. You want to have like more search targets, but 3-to-3 is working out?
3-to-3 is working out really well because Ymir Azurin is such a good card.
You want to see it.
Yeah, you want to see it. Ymir Azurin going first has won me so many games. And we'll get to that when we get to that part. But yeah, so I play it 3-and-3. Honestly, if you want to play the 3-and-2 ratio, I'd actually recommend playing 3 of the monster, 2 of the spell, just because she can discard herself.
That's what I was referring to,
Oh, okay. I thought it was inverted.
Oh,
but
no. Yeah, searchers, you always want more search targets.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is true.
Pretty equal. It's hard to...
Sometimes I found myself in a situation where I've got like 2 Ice Jade Cradle and Ymir Azurin, and then like 2 cards that are like, why did I see this right now? But for the most part, 3-and-3 is great for me. Again, you know, this deck's kind of flexible, so ratios are really up to taste. And then we've got the 1 Gold Sark, because it's at 1. They brought it back to, what, 2 for a little bit and then hit it back to 1? Or was it at 3? I can't remember. I remember this card came back to 2 or 3 for a little bit. And it is at 2 in Edison. And it you know what it does in Edison? It banishes Judgment Dragon.
Judgment Dragon, Miracle Fusion, Future Fusion. All the busted cards.
Man, Banishing Future Fusion in
Charge the life
4
gain.
turns. In 4 turns, I get a big fusion monster. Boy, that used to be threatening.
The Pre-errata Future Fusion is just good to see for the dumps.
Oh yeah, Pre-errata Future Fusion is absolutely
Instead of a
insane.
Treeborn and a hero, not only do you have Treeborn, but you have instant Miracle Fusion. If you
Oh yeah, it's mass foolish burial in a format that has no hand traps. It's
you don't
insane.
have it, they're getting absolute 0.
Yeah, absolutely. Like card is, God, I miss Future Fusion.
Activated again, not once per turn. What does that even mean?
Yeah, literally. What is once per turn in Edison? Just like Gold Sark, not once per turn. That's part of the reason I think it can't come back to more than 1. This card's just insane in the deck. It banishes whatever the hell you might need in banish. You got Shift and you want paces, cool, you hit paces. You want to do the Psyx play, remember I said Psyx goes nutty, you banish Psyx, full combo off of Gold Sark. Card is amazing if you see it. It's never bad, unless it is, but those are very small scenarios. The one called by the grave, this deck banishes things. It's what it does. It's a banishment deck. There's no reason to not play it. The one Harpy's Feather Duster, just because, again, I can't find a reason to not play this card. I think every deck should play it.
What's your deck count?
40.
40 on the dot. Okay.
I am at 40. So the one Feather Duster, I just don't see a reason to not play it. It's a board breaker. It's just a good card. Good card.
Sure.
Playing good cards is good. And then I've had people tell me I'm psycho for doing this, that I'm mean, but again, I can't see a reason to not do this. You play 3 evenly matched. Main deck.
And, you have a special place in the afterlife.
Hey, again, this is a banishment deck. I just decided to triple down on that strategy.
We could purge or regardless.
Hey, you know how many game 1s I've had that I'm like, battle phase? And they're like, no.
Main deck. Oh.
And I'm like, end of battle phase evenly. And they're like, you main deck that? And I'm like, there's no reason not to in this deck. It fits the theme of the deck. It's a board breaker if you lose the dice roll. Card is good. All right, so now we get into the juicy bits, the really juicy bits, the stuff that all those monsters are getting banished for, the extra deck. So we'll start with the one link monster we play in the deck. I almost never use him. I go into him, I think, less than 1 out of 10 games. He's just...
an option.
He's an option. He's like, if I brick, but he's my way out. Sometimes he can get you out of a brick.
What does he do?
So, when he's link summoned, you can special summon a water monster, or a fish monster, I'm sorry, from your hand to a zone that he points to. And then once per turn, you can target a fish monster you control and a monster your opponent controls and banish both of them.
Permanently.
Yeah. So
some implications.
yeah, and I mean, he kind of seems tailor-made for the deck. Back when I put him in the deck, when this deck first dropped, I was playing him to get out of the I block because I was running into a lot of players who played the I block.
Yeah.
I guess that's another thing is, like, you can play through D barrier if you use him, but for the most part, you're not going to use him. But he's still, in my opinion, something you need to have in the extra deck.
Yeah, options are good, especially with the space.
Now, this card, I don't like this card. I don't think it really belongs in the deck. I just can't figure out what to take it out for. This card has a lot of flaws. For starters, it's a tuner. Believe it or not, that actually shuts it down because now I can't go into a lot of my synchro monsters. I don't have any double tune monsters. It's just a level 4 that, like, this card really, the only time I've ever seen value out of it is if the only fish I can end on is Keith. If I end on Keith and Shift and Paces, so all the level 2s, then Fish Lamp is good.
Fair enough.
But besides that, he's not a quick synchro himself like the rest of the deck is. So if I go into him on my opponent's turn and I can't synchro climb anymore, he's dead. So another card you're probably never going to go into, but an option. You know, he's a fish synchro, so worth looking at.
A lot of people still play him regardless.
Yeah, a lot of people are still playing him. I just personally don't like him. Next, we have Better White Aura Dolphin. This slot used to be taken by White Aura Dolphin, but now we have another level 6 White Aura monster that can go crazy in the late game or the mid game. This is really... The White Aura monsters, for the most part, are in here to play under cards like Imperial Iron Wall, Artifact Lancia. These cards still give you stuff that you can play through that with. It also is your out to getting Rageki'd or Lightning Stormed or Darkhold, you know, whatever the board breakers may be. You go into the White Aura monsters and they bring themselves back when they're destroyed.
You mostly banish on the opponent's turn, right? Or your turn?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Lancia only stops on your turn.
Oh, that's true. So,
you can do anything on your opponent's turn regardless.
yeah, so I
Imperial
guess...
Iron Wall is kind of like a...
Yeah, Imperial Iron Wall, the White Aura monsters definitely help you play against. And again, they're your out to board breakers. This guy's kind of interesting because, like, what is it? When he's summoned, you get to summon 2 monsters with the same name. Special summon 1 level 4 lower fish monster from your hand or graveyard. Then you can special summon 1 monster with that same name from your graveyard. So he's just a monster reborn on summon as well, which gives you even more rebuild if you get Rageki'd, which is something that really hurts the deck. Because these cards bring themselves back when they're destroyed by opponent's card effect. So really good. Next, we have the Bridge card. 2 Arion Posts. Before I fully understood how the deck worked, I didn't like Arion Post, but now I understand he is necessary. This card's insane. What doesn't he do is a good question. But when he's summoned, you can banish a fish straight from the deck. That's huge because it can't be ashed. Since most of this is happening on your opponent's turn, I'm not going to go into Arion Post on my turn. Why would I do that? He just usually banishes Zep from deck, so Zep will just pull himself back and give you an instant Synchro 8 over him, because when he's used as Synchro material, you can target 1 fish monster in your graveyard, himself, and then banish it, and if you do, banish is part of the effect, so if he gets negated, he doesn't banish. But if you do, you can search a fish monster with equal or lesser level than the fish monster you banished. He gets chain blocked by the next Ghoti card that we're going to be looking at. Here, I'll put that over this one, because that's usually your play. But I mean, almost always he's chain blocked, so he's pretty much never going to get ashed. Card is good. He's a bridge. He searches you cards. He can search Snopios, so he's what searches your hand trap. Yeah, really good card. Really, really good card. Next, we play the monster that you climb into using Arion Post and Zep, Ascan. So Ascan is what chain blocks Arion Post, because when he's synchro summoned, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls and 1 fish monster you control, typically targets himself, almost always, banish both. And then when he's banished, you can banish a fish from your graveyard to special summon him right back. So it's like you just banish your opponent's monster and then pull him back. And then it's cha-ching, stonks, because you got the search off of Arion Post on top of that. Our turn. That's what this deck plays. Our turn. The thing I like most about this deck, while I'm kind of on the topic, is it has a really high skill ceiling, because all of the synchro summons, they go on a separate chain. So like if you're using your quick synchros to go into a monster, you've got to have that perfect timing. You've got to be preempting things. You've really got to have an eye for choke points more than anything. Next, we play the 1 White Aura Whale. Again, if you get Imperial Iron Walled, you can still go into him and board wipe your opponent.
I see you got the copy you needed.
Yes, I did get the copy I needed. Reprinted, but I'll take it.
Nice one too, the Silver Ultra.
Yeah, it's pretty.
I like those.
Yeah, right? I like them a lot too, especially on a synchro monster. They might have.
This is like the purple, red, and green ones, right? I've never seen the silver one.
I've never seen one either, honestly.
Could be.
So again, summons itself if it's destroyed by an opponent's card effect. It Ragekis, or more accurately, it Lightning Storms when it's summoned for attack position monsters. It is a when effect, so if you summon this off of a quick synchro that's like Chainlink 2, it does miss timing. So this card requires...
when it's summoned?
Yeah, when it's summoned.
Okay, so putting it back, the last thing will be Chainlink 2. Okay.
Yeah. So this can miss timing. You have to play it very carefully, but you can play under Imperial Iron Wall and still board wipe your opponent.
Chainlink, basically.
Yeah, you want it to be Chainlink 1 for the synchro. Also, this card allows you to OTK because it does piercing damage and it can attack monsters twice per turn. So,
attack a Ryko twice? No, it'll just that.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking it's not for Edison. Edison right now.
I love Edison. I'm always in Edison mood. All right, next we have some spice. We've got Adamancipator, Risen Dragite. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like most of the monsters in this deck are water. So you will have water monsters in your graveyard for the negate.
You're playing waters?
Dude, I know it's shocking, but yeah, this is a water deck.
Fire right now. I thought, wait, you're not playing fire?
Hey, how do you put out a fire, baby?
With fire, Rescue Ace, Hydrant.
Ah, damn, that's a good point. Hang on, I gotta counterpoint.
We use fire to cook the fish.
That's true. Fight fire with fire, as they say. But I go old school. I fight fire with water. Dragite's such a good card.
Dragite.
Next, we have one of our 2 synchro monsters that we go into off of Ran Azurin. Cheng Ying.
Good card.
Really good card. This card snowballs.
I didn't even realize he's in water.
Yeah, this card snowballs insanely fast too. I've actually always felt like Cheng Ying is a card that's worth looking at if you want a Synchro 10, just in general. He's a generic level 10 Synchro. I would tell people to look at him back when Baron was expensive, because he snowballs insanely fast. He protects himself. The protection condition, it's not an activated effect, sees value for me because I banish something. So like,
really good against Fire King.
Oh yeah, he's really good against Fire King.
I put him against Alex and didn't realize how good he was until I was playing pure Fire King Snake Eye against him.
Oh yeah, like this card is, he's just really good resource denial, which is really what this deck focuses on. It is all resource denial. And he snowballs insanely fast.
He's good this format for sure.
He is insane this format.
In general though, he's probably right there with Baron for the best generic level 10s.
Yeah, he really is. Like,
plays both, so we play both.
He's so good. And like sometimes if I know the matchup, so like most of the time if I'm at locals, sometimes I won't even go into this next Synchro 10 monster going first. I'll go into him going first and then I just win the game.
Oh,
yeah. But this next one is the good generic going first option off of Ran Azurin, and that is Ymir Azurin. She has a quick effect. So in the lore, she's actually what counters Mirror Jade. And in the game, it operates the same way.
You know, I used to play her in Sword Soul as well.
Great card.
It's good against the Kashtira format for sure.
Oh yeah, it's really good against Kashtira.
Protection.
Yeah, like all of a sudden Fenrir no longer shuts down this deck. Which it doesn't anymore anyway because of Keef, which is actually why some of my side deck changed between last time I edited it and this time. Not that I have a deck profile on the channel yet to prove that, but you know, Ymir Azurin's insane just because her quick effect is, for the rest of the turn, your cards cannot be destroyed or banished by your opponent's card effect. Now that's huge because you can still banish your own stuff, and if you activated it in response to your opponent's card, you can banish your opponent's card. So if your opponent tries to normal summon Fallen of Albaz on you, not knowing what this does, Albaz has to use himself as fusion material, so she just banishes him and then shuts down the effect, and now you've still got your board. Anyway, back to what I said about resource denial being the purpose of this deck. This is protection plus resource denial in a 1-card combo, so card is good. Next, we have the big bad boss monster, Ghoti of the Deep Beyond. I play him at 2. I play all the Ghoti monsters at 2. I don't know, just feels right to me. It scratches that itch in my brain. Y'all play the ratios you want. Maybe you knock a Skan to 1, and then you play Toad and Bahamut Shark in the extra deck, because I don't play that. A lot of people do. I don't. This guy's insane. If he's synchro summoned on your opponent's turn, only on your opponent's turn, he banishes the entire field. And then on the standby phase, after he was banished by his own effect, he special summons himself back. And that's not all he does. His attack is also equal to 500 times the number of banished monsters, point blank period. So he gets big quick. He's a big monster, hit hard, wipe the board. He was designed to be the Ghoti boss monster. because he also requires a fish tuner. So just by card design, he is the Ghoti boss monster, not much else. Next, we go to number 4, Stealth Kraken. Card is good. Not much else to say. Turning everything into water, this is really good versus Voiceless Voice. If you're up against Voiceless Voice, you go into this, you kind of just win because he shuts off all of their protection. He's also a quick effect, pop a water monster, burn your opponent so he wins in time. He's resource denial. This card is insane. I think he's better than the Bahamut Shark Toad engine by 1.5 miles this format. Yeah, card is good. Requires 2 level 4 water monsters. You can use Abyss Shark for him. And he's a lockout with Gozen Match, which, spoiler alert, is a card we play in the side deck. But if you go into him and flip Gozen Match, you just win. Next, we have Masked Hero Acid to round out the last of our extra deck.
Hero deck?
Hero deck? Ghoti is actually heroes? Hold up.
Sword Soul 2.
Yeah.
One of my favorite decks.
Ooh, yeah. So, damn, you got me. What we're actually playing is Fish Hero Sword Soul. And deck goes insane. So I was actually going to side Acid, but then I was like, why not just throw him in the extra deck and save a side deck slot? I mean, the extra deck's pretty flexible. So next, we go to the side deck, and I guess I'll do the cards that I spoiled in the deck profile first. So we'll start with, we play 3 Mask Change 2 in the side. So you remember how I said there's no reason to not play Harpy's Feather Duster, and Harpy's Feather Duster is a good card? Well, what if I told you if you're playing a water deck, you can have 4 Harpy's Feather Dusters? And that was the logic behind this, you know, I mean...
Labyrinth is still a deck.
Yeah, Labyrinth is still a deck. Back Row Hate is just kind of always good to look at. And I came across wanting to put this in Ghoti when I was talking to some players about like budget power options for a deck if you wanted to still compete but didn't want to spend an arm and a leg. And I was like, Masked Hero Darklaw is still a card, a really powerful card. And then I was like, what? I was like, wait, Acid did things, and I play a water deck. Yo, cooking? And yeah, so 4 Harpy's Feather Duster seems good. Next, we play the 1 Gozen Match. Insanely good this format, even against decks like Snake Eyes, because they link, right? They go into monsters from the extra deck that are not the same attribute as what they play in the main deck. So like if you time it right, let's say they only have the 1 Popless on the field, like that ever happens, but we'll pretend. And then they link into Link Rebo, you flip Gozen Match and they just lose. Also, it's a lockout with Stealth Kraken no matter what you're up against, unless you're up against a mirror, which I doubt you will run into in the current metagame. Next, we play, nobody saw this coming, the 1 Rivalry of Warlords. Now, obviously, we're only playing 1 of each because these cards did just get hit to 1, but we are playing all fish, even in the extra deck. This actually makes some side calls really easy. Like, if I really need the floodgates, so I side in the Gozen and the Rivalry, I'm siding out the Ice Jade engine because it goes into non-fish monsters. I don't need that. So, also makes siding a little easier to have that. Then we've got 3 Droll and Lockbird. I just think the cards that read Shut Off X Mechanic are really strong, and Droll definitely fits that bill. Droll is insane against certain decks, but this deck, I prefer to play the hand traps in the side. You know what I mean? But Droll, good card. That's why we cite it, really, more than anything. It hits a lot of things. Next is a card that I started citing almost a year ago, actually, because I just kept finding myself in situations where I was like, I wish I had this card. Mm-hmm. And I realized how good the card actually was in the current format, it's just nobody was playing it. So again, this goes back to resource denial is good. We play 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit in the side. This absolutely shuts down the Horus engine. If you're up against a Horus player, you Ghost Ogre their King Sark, and now they're down 2 cards in their hand, and they can't bring back the Horus monsters that they just sent to the grave. This hurts a lot of things, actually. Like a well-timed Ghost Ogre can actually do some harm to Snake Eyes, at least from my experience playing them. You just gotta find that choke point. But yeah, she's resource denial, and resource denial is insanely good. I just keep finding myself in situations where I wish I had Ghost Ogre, so I finally said, screw it, I'm gonna start siding it. Last hand trap that we side is the 1 DD Crow. Again, deck banishes a lot. It's just in character, and I didn't know what else to put in the 15th side deck slot, so I said, why not a DD Crow? Sure, it's good this format. You could actually change this out for like 1 Soul Release if you wanted to, because Soul Release is arguably better than DD Crow this format.
It's more impactful at a slower speed.
Yeah, more impactful at a slower speed, so it depends on what you want. I like being fast. I like Go Zoom, which is kind of ironic given the last card in my side deck. So this is a card that lives rent-free in my head and has ever since I found a copy of it in my bulk about 6 years ago. And I think I was reading it, or I was thinking about it, and I was like, I think this card is good, again, in the current format. We play 3 Vanity's Call.
Read it for them if they don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows what this does. This is a common from Cyberdark Impact. This is like a 2006. Yeah. So, first of all, it's a counter trap. So this ends the chain unless your opponent's also playing a counter trap. And no red reboot in the format, baby. Let's go. So this card can only be activated as Chainlink 4 or higher. But when you activate it, you pay half your life points, negate all effects on the chain, and then destroy all cards all those cards that are activated. So it's resource denial, it's a full turn shutdown. This card's insane against Labyrinth. Like if you see this versus Labyrinth, and you resolve it, you win. It shuts down their turn completely because they go to like Chainlink 6. I know it's not really commonly played right now, but this is insane versus Flunder too. Oh, yeah. Like Flunderies. And the best thing about this card is it plays an insane mind game. Like if you Vanity's Call your opponent once, all you have to do is, let's say, that's a bad example, there we go. Let's say I've got, Ice Jade Cradle in my hand, but I don't have Vanity's Call, but I've still got it sided in. I'll set that Ice Jade Cradle. And now my opponent's going suboptimal because they're afraid of the Vanity's Call. Like,
it makes them afraid even to, negate you, because that's automatically Chainlink too.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to do something.
And then because this deck does a lot of chain links, I can decide which effects I'm willing to sacrifice to force the Vanity's Call. Like this card's actually just insane. It's a full turn shutdown, it's resource denial, it's it costs half your life points. That's a pretty big downside. But outside of that, I think this card is great. If I were to sub it out for something that I'd say is a little more practical, it'd probably be Charge of the Light Brigade, yes. It would be...
Banish card.
Yeah, Banish card. Boom. Caius the Shadow Monarch. Best side card. Hey, if I played Caius in this deck, I could play Darklaw with Mass Change 2.
Oh, yeah.
Boom. Cooking. But I would probably side it out, or I'd change it out for Iron Thunder, which does almost the same thing in practicality. But yeah, that is Ghoti. I'm just mostly excited to have my 3 copies of Vanity's Call because since it's a less than 10-cent card from a set in 2008, nobody has it. So, but yeah, that's the Ghoti deck profile. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you made it this far, thank you so much for supporting Solo YGO. These guys are great. They are regular players at the locals that I host. Humble brag, shameless plug aside.
Shout out the locals. What's it called?
We are locals at Game Night Games LLC in Pueblo, Colorado. I am actually the judge for those tournaments. Working on Thank you. Working on taking that RC2 test. The second I'm able to afford going to a YCS, I want to go just for the RC2 test. But yeah, Jay, Ruben, Alex, everybody you've seen on the channel, they are regulars at those locals and they are great players, let me tell you. So thank you for supporting them, because by supporting them, you support the Yu-Gi-Oh scene where we all live. And once again, reminder, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell icon if you liked it. Actually, you know what? If you like this mat, or if you like Edison format, you gotta hit that like and subscribe right now. And if you like both, you gotta hit that bell icon too. That's the deal. Oh my God, the Ulti Stardust, the Ulti Black Rose. Yo, that is a shiny Edison extra deck. Hang on.
All right, guys, we'll end the video here.
All right.